Hi guys, this is Cindy from Two Crafty Little Sisters. Thanks for joining me for today's card project. We'll be using the Letterette Greetings Hello stamp set and then the Pink and Main Pocket of Sunshine stamp set. It also does come with the die set, which I didn't use for this card. And then in the order, she always sends you a free little stamp set, which is always kind of fun. For the top layer, I cut my white Nina 80-pound cardstock 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then to make sure I had kind of the spacing where I wanted it to go, I kind of laid out my stamps. And then I was going to do some masking so that I could create the sunglasses hang outside of the pocket. And I knew I was going to do some Copic coloring, so I used my Copic friendly ink, Memento Tuxedo Black. And for the masking, I used the Post-it full sticky Post-it notes. And then just stamped it and cut it out. When you're masking, you always want to stamp the image that's going to be first and in front, and then stamp the subsequent layers, and then it comes in behind it. The next thing I wanted was the pocket, because I wanted the sunglasses to look like they were hanging outside the pocket. So the next thing I stamped was the pocket. And sometimes you have to press a little harder around the where the mask is, because the ink doesn't want to sometimes stamp there. But this one worked out pretty good. And then I stamped the second time so I could make a mask for the pocket. As I put in the next thing I was going to stamp is the little cell phone. And I do save my masks. I stick them on the back of my envelope that houses the stamp sets in them, and then I can use them usually about 3, 4, 5 times. So you just have to cut it out once, and then it's usable several more times, which is nice. That one didn't stamp quite nicely, so inked it again and stamped down. I decided to blend some distress ink around my image. And I used distress inks in mustard seed and wild honey. And the little blender tool has Velcro on it, so I store the little pads right inside the ink pad itself in the bottom. Because otherwise you get a ton of them with all different colors on them and you don't know which ink pads they belong to. And I apologize, I thought you would be able to see the colors I used, the Copic colors I used, but when I reviewed the video, they were really fuzzy. So for the blues, I used B02, B14, and B24. I had to use the colorless blender. Some of the blue kind of bled over the lines, and the colorless blender you can push back the ink so it fixes that little mistake. For the yellow I used Y11 and Y18 for the glasses. And a little more colorless blender. For the gray that's in the cell phone to make it looks like it has some shadows, I used N0, N1, and N2. Both my sister and I have been trying to take some classes on Copic coloring just to get a better feel for how they work and what color combinations go good together. After you spend so much for the markers, we wanted to, learn more on how to use them more effectively. For this red colors, I used R43, R24, and R46. And for the tans, I used E13 and E15. So there you have all the Copic coloring. So I wanted to add the sentiment, and for that I like to use Hero Art's Intense Black ink. It is a little bit crisper ink. I find in the Memento is great for the when you're going to Copic color, but if it's just a sentiment, straight sentiment, I do like the Hero Arts. For that background black color, I used obviously black cardstock, and I cut it 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and then I used some art glitter glue to glue it to the front of the black cardstock. And then I like to have it pop up from just the base card, and so I use some foam tape. The base card, I do like to use Neenah Solar White cardstock in 110-pound weight. It's a little stiffer card. And I like to make a top fold card. And excuse my head. I was trying to get it on straight, and then the camera had a hard time adjusting back. I did use a gel pen, white gel pen, just to give some little dimension to the words. And after I got done filming this, I decided that it really needed some Wink of Stella on the sentiment to make it kind of pop a little bit more, so I did add that. Then I decided I needed to add a couple of sequins, so the picture on the blog post shows the completed card, because it just looked kind of a little plain after I got done. And sometimes, you just can't stop messing with something, and you should let it go. So thanks for joining me, and hope to see you next time. Bye for now.